CKGSB, China's only not-for-profit independent business school.
My career has been in consumer products, media, and entertainment. So I can't speak for businesses that are highly technical in nature or highly dependent on technology. But in the businesses I've been in, it's almost always very poor leadership. Leadership that lacks courage. Usually the problem is that the leadership, for whatever reason, is just not unwilling to make the changes, the hard decisions, the hard changes that need to be made as a business and an industry and as competition evolves. You have to react. And for various reasons, they're just not capable of doing that. Either they don't understand the change, or perhaps it's frankly emotionally very difficult to make a lot of people unhappy. But making radical change in a business is all about, unfortunately, making other human beings unhappy. What I found in a number of my turnarounds, that one of the problems that existed was that these businesses, consumer products, media, and entertainment, are highly dependent on new products, whether they be media forms, whether they be hard consumer products, or whatever. You have to have a steady stream of innovative new products. But when you go to a company, you find out that no one wants to work in new products because they believe that it's very risky, that if you're not successful, you may not have a career very long at the company, yet you are highly dependent. It should be where your best people are on new products. And the way to change that is, first of all, you tell people it's okay to fail. But they won't really believe you until you start to back it up. One of the things that I used to do is when we had a successful new product, I would have an all-employee meeting and I would hand out checks to the team that worked on that new product. Now people start thinking, wait a minute, these people are getting checks for success. Yes, we've had some failures. Doesn't seem like anybody's in trouble. This is actually the place you want to build your career. Obviously, you want to understand the business and the language of business. The blood flowing through the veins of a business are the numbers, are the financials. So of course, you need to understand that. It'll help you understand the business very quickly. But in turnarounds, you often find that the culture is completely wrong. I like to say the culture is bankrupt. The company may or may not be bankrupt financially, but the culture is bankrupt. It's typically a negative culture. It's one where the organization is used to losing, used to failing, used to underperforming. And you have to change that. You have to give the organization pride. And that takes time. And there's lots of ways to do that. One is simply be honest with the organization. Be consistent in how you communicate on what changes you want to make. And if you want to establish a new culture, back it up with your actions. Talk is very simple, but most of the employees will not believe you until they see you behaving in a way that suggests that you really will act on the kinds of things you're saying. One of the cultural changes I always liked to make was to create an atmosphere where it's okay for people to admit they have problems, they have challenges. We all do in all our jobs. Absolutely. But we can solve them together in 99% of the cases, but we need to know about them. What used to keep me up at night mostly on these turnarounds was not problems I knew about. It was that I knew there are other problems that maybe I didn't know about. That's what would worry me. Well, I'm a very big believer in having active boards. There are a lot of CEOs who don't want active boards and in fact really don't want the boards to know very much about what's happening in the company. My attitude is very different. And we had a great board at Marvel of very accomplished executives, both from the turnaround world, people who've been experienced turnaround people, but also from entertainment and so on. And I felt we were getting world-class help for very little money. You don't pay the board anything close to what they're really worth. And so I wanted them to be involved directly with the senior executives. I was not worried about the board members interacting with senior executives. They were there to give advice, not make decisions, of course, for them, but to give advice, and that was very useful in difficult times when you're trying to turn around a company. So I'm a big supporter of very, very strong boards, which you don't always see, as you know, in public companies. You want the board to be very aware of what the problems are, what's important, what the problems are that we need to tackle. You want to have a very good discussion about strategy and an agreement on strategy going forward. And if you have a good board, you're going to get a lot of strong opinions. Some of them will differ with each other, and that's okay. I would much rather have people differing so that we can really think about the alternatives than have everyone agree with me. That is absolutely the worst possible situation, where everyone is just saying, yeah, oh yeah, you're absolutely right on everything, when you know you're not. So I was dependent very much on the board for their very sage advice based on their experience.